Welcome to the second session of the professional ethics class. In the previous class, we have discussed that where professional ethics as a discipline fall within the broad areas of philosophy. So, if you recall the points of the previous lecture, you can see that philosophy is a discipline where we argue for something, and it is this argumentative spirit, argumentative skill, which is essential for doing philosophy. And these skills are used to establish certain claims on logical grounds. Now consider, we have seen three major branches of philosophy where this skill is employed. If you can see the board, these are the three branches of philosophy: metaphysics, epistemology, and axiology. We have discussed that metaphysics is the study of reality. Epistemology is the study of knowledge, and axiology is the study of norms and principles. And when we study norms and principles which are applicable to human conduct, then that is called ethics. And when we study norms and principles which are used to evaluate the beauty of objects or scene, then that branch of philosophy is called aesthetics. And within the subdiscipline of ethics, we have seen again further classifications. So one class of ethics is given this title normative ethics, where we really study norms and principles which are applicable for the evaluation of human conduct. The second branch of ethics is called metaethics, and it is basically the study of norms and principles as they are utilized in our judgments. So in fact, in metaethics, we study the character, the meaning of moral judgments, our moral decisions. So consider this particular branch of ethics is an offshoot of what we call philosophy of language, and that is part of analytic philosophy. Then the third branch which we have seen within ethics is called applied ethics. And here we study norms and principles which are really used in a particular context. Now, within the scope of applied ethics, we can see that norms and principles are used for the evaluation of different human conducts. And when we use those norms and principles values to evaluate a professional conduct, then it is called professional ethics. So we have defined that professional ethics is the study of norms and principles which are applicable to a professional context. Similarly, within the scope of applied ethics, we find, in fact, specific branches of applied ethics. So if norms and principles are understood with reference to the engineering profession, then it is termed engineering ethics. And if it is related to business, then it is termed business ethics. Similarly, medical ethics, legal ethics, and you can just go on adding ethics before any kind of professional behavior. So we have seen that within the broad discipline of philosophy, professional ethics falls here. Now, we have defined professional ethics as the study or learning of norms and principles applicable to a professional context. And we also see that there are certain issues with respect to this very application. Now, before going into the details of professional ethics, let us first have some very general understanding of what we call profession. So you all are getting professional training. Someone is in engineering, someone is in sciences, others are in other disciplines. So if we look at the nature of our class, the majority of students are coming from engineering and science background. Now, certainly we are to look into these professions, engineering and sciences, for the sake of instantiating our theories. And if we are to take case studies, it would be worthwhile to consider the cases which are pertaining to the professions in which you all are interested. So we will take up the professional cases accordingly. But before going into that detail, let us first make sense of what profession as such is. That is the essential practice in philosophy. First, we try to understand what a certain concept as such is and how it is applied and what it refers to. So you can pause this video for 1 or 2 minutes. Think of your own understanding of profession, what profession means. And then you can compare your understanding of profession with what we are going to discuss now. So consider profession is rooted in a body of knowledge, and there is an ideal behind this activity called profession, and the ideal is that it intends to serve the society. It offers certain service to the society. So this is the broad understanding of what we call profession. If we want to unfold it little further, so you can consider profession as a particular domain of human activity. It's a specified domain of human activity. And to engage in that kind of activity meaningfully, skillfully, we require knowledge, we require skill to engage in those activities. And knowledge and skills are not traditionally learned in the modern context. For that, we require a proper training, an institutionalized training, right? So as you are getting training here for engineering and sciences, you are admitted in the program with certain prerequisite, you satisfied certain level of competence, and therefore you were given admission to these skill-based programs, and you are being further polished. Your skills are being further polished, further evolved with the help of different instructions, different experiments. So you are going to acquire the required kind of knowledge and skill so that you can meaningfully, efficiently engage yourself in that particular domain of human activity. And then remember, we perform certain activity with certain purpose in our mind, and we want to achieve that purpose within a time frame. So it's not the case that we have unlimited time and we have an activity which is not goal oriented. So a professional activity is also a time bound activity, and it is goal oriented, it is result oriented. So a professional wants to achieve certain objectives, certain result within a time frame. So if you look at what we call profession. In this way, you can understand that profession is a specified area of human activity. It requires certain skills, certain knowledge, and that skill, that knowledge is acquired through a proper training. And for that, you will be given certificate, right? So you can show that I have received this training. I'm entitled to do certain activity in a particular area. And once you are hired, you are employed, or you are engaged in that activity, you are required to produce concrete results within a time frame, right? So, in order to call a particular human activity a profession, it must satisfy all these conditions. Now, consider in our times, in modern times, n number of professions are developed, right? You can think of variety of professions in which people are engaged. You are going to do engineering, someone is going to do sciences, someone may be teaching, someone may be engaged in research-based activities, some may go to civil services, some may join law professions, some may just do social service by having a startup or having some kind of non-government organizations, or one may join politics, right? So that is also a profession. Someone may join film industry for acting, or maybe for providing technical help to the film industry so that we get reasonable technically sound productions from the film industry. So certainly you are going to join the professions of your choice, and let us hope that the kind of training, the kind of skill you are gaining here, you will use that to have efficient delivery of your services. Now, remember, our time is not an easy time. It's a difficult time. Why I say this? Because now we have a lot more social and political awareness among the people. So most of the time you see the professional behavior is always under scrutiny of the common people. If you are a doctor, if you are an engineer, if you are a business person, if you are a social activist, if you are a teacher, or you can think of so many professionals, all the professional activities are under strict scrutiny of the common population. And you see now and then there are many attacks on the professionals, there are many attacks on the organizations by the common people, precisely because the professional activity performed was not acceptable to them, or they saw that there is some kind of carelessness in the delivery. So consider our time is not an easy time. Along with that, you see all sorts of people are joining different professions with different motives, with different objectives. So it is difficult really to see the same level of sensitivity, the same level of sincerity among all those who join a profession. Now, this is the situation. Now, how to see this situation in an academic framework? For that, we have designed certain pattern. So consider, in order to discuss the problems related to professional ethics, we must be aware of what is the core of the problems. So consider, as a professional, what is most important for you is the clients, the stakeholders whom you are going to serve, right? So the greatest challenge and the problem related to a professional activity is how to maintain a good relationship with the clients, right? So a teacher needs to establish a good relationship with the students, right? In a sense, you all are my clients, right? So if I don't perform my task sincerely, if I don't study properly, if I don't deliver the content properly, and if I don't deliver it to the level of your satisfaction, your understanding, then I will be failing in my professional behavior, right? And now, because of the corona crisis, you see, we all are supposed to deliver the content through online. You are not physically present in the campus. So whatever we are supposed to deliver, we are supposed to deliver in the same quantity, same quality as it was done in the physical classes, right? That too in a very tight manner. In physical classes, we used to have some liberty, right? Sometimes we have some informal kind of chatting. We used to have some kind of discipline maintenance activity, etc. So we had some relaxation in the physical classes. Online classes and these videos are going to be delivered to you. So you must not be bored by watching all these things, right? So that is a challenge for a teacher, for a professional teacher. And there are many teachers who may be facing such problem, that how to make videos, and if something goes wrong, how to edit it and how to make it interesting. And there are many counselors, in fact, they have just suddenly cropped up, and they are trying to counsel in so many ways that, okay, this way you can make nice videos, you can make your content interesting, etc., or inviting. Now, in this scenario, we see that this is a challenge before the teaching profession, before the learning profession, how to cope up with this. And the old methods cannot just be applied, right? So first thing is that how to maintain the relationship between professionals and clients. And if there is any aberration, there is any failure, then how to regulate, how to monitor that behavior which is responsible for the relationship between professional and clients. At the same time, every profession is related to certain social prestige, certain status in the society. Now, as a professional, we are, of course, supposed to maintain a cordial relationship with the clients. At the same time, we must see that the ideal status, the glorious status of our profession is not seen in a down way. So we conduct in such a dignified way, in such an efficient way, that our profession is seen in a high regard in the society. And that is the responsibility of a professional, right? So it is not just maintaining the relationship between client and the professional, that is, of course, in the core of the whole activity, but also in performing professional behavior and delivering professional services, we need to also think that our profession is seen in high regard. Remember, normally we say that the medical profession is next to, in fact, the divine activity, right? The medical professionals are supposed to save life of the people. It's not only the medical profession. In fact, engineering professionals, suppose you are constructing a bridge, and if there is something wrong with that, then there may be many lives in danger, right? You are uh, programming for some software, you make codes for certain things, and if that thing goes wrong, then what may happen? It may create danger to the life. So all the professionals are supposed to provide safety to the clients. They must show concern for the health of the clients, and also they must think of the overall well-being of their consumers, their clients. So safety, health, and well-being, these three are taken to be the main objective of any professional services. We want to serve in such a way that all these three are maintained, right? Only then we can think of something better, something good for the professional behavior, right? As a professional, we are supposed to maintain a cordial relationship with the organization where we are employed, or the institution which we have established for ourselves as a startup business or anything like that. So we are supposed to maintain a good relationship with the organization as such. Similarly, we deliver services along with other colleagues. So we are supposed to maintain a good relationship with the colleagues. Unless we have a cordial environment of working with the colleagues, it would be very difficult to efficiently deliver services, right? And as I said, we are supposed to maintain the cordial relationship with our consumers, the clients, the stakeholders, right? And all these people are situated in the society, right? So our relationship with all these three will certainly have impact on the perception of the society in relation to my profession, right? So the overall impression of a profession is created by the professional behavior of the people of that particular profession. Consider police organization. They are very nice police personnel, very courageous, hardworking police personnel. But then there are also the problematic ones, right? Similarly, in politics, there are fantastic politicians, very hardworking, very knowledgeable politicians. But then there are problematic individuals joining professions, political profession. In engineering profession, in sciences, teaching, law, you think of so many professions. There are fantastic, wonderful individuals, and they have very high personal regards. They command very high personal regards from the people. But then, can you point out a single profession which is, as a profession, seen in a high regard in the society? People will simply say no, because there are problematic persons joining the profession. And therefore, it is our responsibility for each professional, as a professional, we need to conduct keeping all these things in mind. It is not just personal benefit. It is not just one person's aberration. If we do something which is problematic, it brings defame to the profession as such, right? Now, there are problems, of course, there are some problems which can be tackled legally, but there are problems which cannot be tackled legally, right? So we require something over and above the legal norms. So what kind of norms they could be? They can be moral norms, right? So consider, when we think of different norms and principles applied to evaluate a professional conduct, there could be different issues. I wish to point out two problems. One, these are the questions for you to reflect, right? Consider, are there specific norms and principles applicable to a particular profession, or all the professions can be brought into one umbrella of regulation and we can solve the problems? Second question is that, will the general principle of morality do in all professional contexts? We are going to learn certain ethical theories, and while analyzing our cases, we will see whether the proposal of a theory is applicable to the context or not. And if that is not helpful, what could be other guidelines? What could be other mechanisms which can be used to solve the problem associated with the profession? So you think over these two questions. We will discuss these questions throughout the semester, of course.